Good morning, traders and investors. Dale Sargent, Trader Boys. We got the markets up. We got the S&P up 21.7, NASDAQ up 94.5, pushing 0.8%, and the Dow up almost 200 with the Russell on a charge at 16.4. We've got the bond market slightly down. We got gold pushing higher as the markets push higher. So be very, very aware of this. Gold is a long-term buy. XM's going up. All the big names here. I mean, look at this. Amazon up another $50 today, 1.58%. That is a huge move. So the NASDAQ is really, really pushing this market harder. And these big tech stocks are going to affect the NASDAQ as well as the S&P 500. IBM and Goldman Sachs, two of the companies I look at for the Dow, making pretty substantial moves there as well as our coronavirus plays up 1.7, 2.5, 3.3 on United Airlines there. So these plays here are now a permission to buy. We're going to wait for a retracement of those back to lower level demand levels, and we can go on those. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at the charts here. So interesting stuff. So in the overnight from Sunday night coming through, we've had the market break out of this supply level in red, and we're coming into this next supply level right in here. Now, the way we're looking at this now is breaking through this level here. Yes, there's overhead supply still to get through and a lot of it, but this measured move here coming off this pivot low through this pivot high, we should, based on technical analysis, we should receive that again and get into this area around the 34.50 area. So look, expect this week, maybe late next week, as long as news doesn't kill this, but to be around this 34.50 new all-time highs in the S&P 500 is kind of the big call we're making right now. Can we reverse at these supply levels on news? Absolutely. So you got to stay tuned. Stay tuned to these morning updates, and we'll keep you posted on what's going to happen, how it's going to happen. At this point in time, with this breakout here, look for the 34.50 as a target for a swing trade, weekly trades going forward. On the Russell 2000, right, there is a 30-minute supply level in here. We've come and tagged that in the overnight. We've just tagged that again in the last hour here, and it's having a hard time. So this is that 30-minute level right here, coming up here, right? Proven 30-minute levels. There's institution sell orders here. Boom, push this to the downside. We broke through this supply level, pushed up into the northern part here, and we're going to try and push through this again. There is supply here, and then there's another supply level coming in at 1457 right there, and that's going to put a lot of pressure on the Russell 2000 to push north here. That's gonna be a hard one to get through right there. NASDAQ new all-time highs, just coming off these new all-time highs. Look for the retracement here. On the 1 hour chart, you've got demand sitting at 10.894, so look for that level there. That's going to be, I mean, if it can retrace that much, there's a lot of strength in this market at this point in time. On the VIX, look for the VIX to get into the low 20s here, into the lower 20s in the VIX, and then we can look to load up on those call options. Now on the VIX call options, they're a very, very cheap investment, and they are a phenomenal hedging tool. At this point in time in the market, do not just have a long portfolio, meaning owning stock only. You've got to have a hedge in play. The stocks you own must have stop losses in play, and you've got to have a hedge such as call options on the VIX or something of that nature, because this market can tumble and can tumble very, very quickly at any point in time here. We're going to come into probably one of the worst earnings seasons in at least a decade. So I'm going to be putting a special class out there real soon. So stay posted for that alert. You want to attend this class is how do we have a portfolio protected in environments like this so we can make huge amounts of money on the upside as the market continues higher and keeps charging on, but be comfortable and insured and protected in that portfolio if things start to break down. Here we got the oil markets. Oil has lower lows, lower highs coming into play here. Look for the trend line break, and then we can look for the long position, and we should be able to get through this supply area if that can take place. If we can get the power to break through, we should be able to get through this supply area and get north of this area at some point this week. In gold, okay, gold is coming down to a little demand area, reacted off that. Looking to get through this supply area here to continue up into this and then continue its long-term trend in the upward direction. So big plays there. Let's come in and let's take a look at a couple charts here. We've got Delta Airlines. Delta Airlines, the bid on Delta Airlines right now is $27.46. That's going to put us again above this little supply area, $27.46. So we can now, if we can get above this trend line, wait for retracement, boom, you've got entry into a nice swing trade there. United Airlines, the bid on United Airlines, 33.76. That puts us above this supply area, above the trend line. Wait for retracement back into this area of 32.60, and you've got a trade on your hands for a nice weekly transaction as long as these markets can continue higher. Carnival Cruise Lines, another coronavirus play here. So we've got the trend line break. We're now through this little supply area here. We're looking at 16.55 in the open, so we got permission to buy. Now I've got a base here, so we can wait for a retracement back in to that base, and then look for the long opportunity north. Many different ways we can play this. So we can buy the stock here, sell the call option above the supply level here, bring in additional income, and use some of that income to buy insurance on this for a long-term play. That way you can build a portfolio very safely. So this is going to be a component that's going to come in that I'm going to teach in a class very soon. Is building a portfolio that's very safe and protected in these type of market environments. Thanks for watching. It's going to be a great week in the markets. Dale Sargent Trader Boys.